It's another edition of Behind the Mic with AudioFile magazine. I'm Joe Reed. Kendra Winchester is my co-pilot for the week. Kendra, where are you flying us to today?
We are going to Australia.
Aha.
Yes. So I have been waiting for this book to come out in the US for months now. This is Stoneyard Devotional by Charlotte Wood, and this is read by Ailsa Piper. And I never thought that I would love a book about a mice plague as much as I did this one. You just don't expect that to happen.
No, talk about the book. I read a review of it in The Guardian, and they've really just lost their mind over this book. They loved it.
So we start with a nameless middle-aged protagonist, and the novel's told in two parts. And the first part, she goes to this religious community, convent of sorts, where these nuns offer places for people to stay in silence. It's like a retreat. And she's not religious, but for some reason, she's drawn to this community. And years later, in the second part of the novel, she leaves her family, she leaves her husband, and decides to stay in this community long term. And she volunteers to help the nuns, like manage their food. And that's where it starts. And, this book doesn't have a ton of plot to it, but the big part of the plot, I would say, is that these mice, this plague of mice, descend upon the entire state, and they are everywhere. And like she would have to open her car door and wait for the mice to like flock out so she wouldn't squish them when she sat down. Like
Oh, God.
they're everywhere. They're in her bed. They're all over the food. They're chewing through cords. They're chewing through pipes. And
Oh, when you say plague, you're not kidding.
yes, like it is almost biblical the way that these mice have shown up. And I just sat there and listening to this beautiful narration of these mice. Oh, my stars. But it was so good. And I just never expected, I guess, to say that about a story about
About
a
a
plague
plague
of
of mice.
mice.
Well, Charlotte Wood is a writer who pays attention to things.
Yes, the tiny details that make
Yeah.
up a location or a place. And this religious community is based in a small town in rural Australia. And so, once again, we have these beautiful natural landscapes that Charlotte Wood is describing, and Ailsa Piper is just the way that she captures these landscapes and the desolate qualities that are there is just really impactful. And I just found myself, absorbed by this audiobook and the descriptions that I was listening to.
Well, why don't we hear a little bit? Do you need to set this up?
So this is where the section is about really describing that landscape and our protagonist kind of viewing it from her spot in the graveyard.
Okay. This is Stoneyard Devotional by Charlotte Wood, read by Ailsa Piper.
Walking back to the car, I remembered something else. A phone call, many months after my mother's death. A man's voice quietly telling me her headstone was ready. I recall standing by the laundry door with the phone in my hand, my outsides unaltered, but everything within me plummeting, like a sandbank collapsing inside me. Near the end of the drive, the sky darkened, turned drizzly. The road coiled up a steep hill, entering a tunnel of thick bush. My car struggled on the wet bitumen. And then, on the other side, it opened out into these endless, shallow, angular plains, bare as rubbed suede. Place names I thought I'd forgotten returned to me one by one. Chocola, Royalla, Breadbow, Bunyan. Jarangle, Babundra, Kelton Plain, Rocky Plain, Dry Plain, like beads on a rosary.
There are some long pauses there. This is so deliberate, of a very deliberate narration, but I see exactly what you're saying about her reading of the descriptive passages.
Yes, I found myself I felt like I was there, and I know I keep saying that, and I guess that's why we had the theme this week of landscapes, but I felt like I was there. I felt like I was with all of these mice. I felt like I was talking to the curmudgeonly nuns. It just really came alive for me in Piper's performance.
Okay, that is Stoneyard Devotional by Charlotte Wood, read by Ailsa Piper. Thank you very much, Kendra.
Of course. Never thought I would talk about mice so much, honestly.
Behind the Mic is brought to you by Thomas Nelson, publisher of Blessed Are the Spiraling, written and narrated by Levi Lesko. Available everywhere you get your audiobooks starting April 1st. And I also want to say this Friday we're having a special edition of Behind the Mic. We are going to be talking Earphones Awards. We're going to be with Laura Rossi, AudioFile's Laura Rossi. She's a contributor to AudioFile, and she is going to focus on 3 Earphones Award books that she particularly likes and wants to draw our attention to. So that's a special edition of Behind the Mic on Friday, March 28th. I'm Joe Reed. I'll talk to you tomorrow.